One side speaks French while other side speaks Spanish. The most important person in the colony. The transformation of a colony into the culture of the kingdom didn't happen automatically. A purposeful development was involved. The king didn't usually directly extend its influence to his colony by physically going there. He administrated his will through his personal representative called a governor or regent. He sent his representative to physically live in the colony in his place. Therefore, the royal governor was the presence of the absent king in the colony. With the governor in the colony, you didn't need the physical presence of the king to experience and be changed by the king's influence. I mentioned that the British monarchs who influenced the English speaking Caribbean nations didn't frequently visit their colonies. Yet, in the Bahamas, we all learned to speak English, drink tea, wave the Union Jack, and sing the song of Britain. We became part of the United Kingdom, and the royal governors were the direct instrument of that transformation. The governor was therefore the most important person in the colony. We get a greater appreciation for why this was true when we look at his purpose. The governor's purpose. The governor's purpose was sixfold. Number one, relationship. The governor was the guarantee that the kingdom could always have access to the colony. The interrelationship between king and colony was totally dependent on him. Number two, communication. Anything the king wanted the colony to know or to receive, he would send through his governor, his avenue of communication. Number three, representation. The governor was the chief representative of the king and his kingdom in the colony. He also represented the colony to the king. Number four, interpretation. The governor understood intimately the king's desires, ideas, intent, purpose, will, and plans. Therefore, he was the only one who could effectively interpret these things for the colony. Number five, power. The governor was the only one empowered with the authority and ability to execute the king's desires and commands for the colony. Number six, partnership. The governor was effectively the king's partner in rulership. The governor's qualifications and roles. The qualifications and roles of a governor were significant in terms of kingdom and colony. Number one, the governor was appointed by the king. Unlike the governors of representational governments, the royal governor was not voted in. He was appointed by the king. Number two, the governor came only from the kingdom, never the colony. Governors were never chosen from the indigenous peoples of the colonies. They were always appointed from the home countries. Why? A governor had to be steeped in the original culture of the kingdom. He had to be a person who knew the kingdom and understood the heart, mind, desires, will, and intent of the king in carrying out the kingdom's purposes in the territory. Number 3, the governor represented only the king. Again, the difference between the governors of colonies and the governors many of us are familiar with in representative governments is like night and day. Every state in the United States has a governor who is voted in by the people and can also be voted out by them. He or she is ultimately accountable to the people of the state, not to the federal government or its leaders. In contrast, the royal governor was responsible and accountable to the king alone in his allegiance, attitude, actions, and responsibilities. Number 4, the governor only expressed the mind and will of the king. The governor was not there to promote his own personal policies or agendas. He was to take the vision and will of the king and communicate that to the people, translating it into policy and law. Number 5, the governor was responsible for converting the colony into the kingdom. Once more, it was the governor's job to oversee and carry out the transformation of the colonies according to the character of the kingdom. The governor was planted in the colony to sow the seeds of the home country into culture of the new territory. Colonization was for the purpose of conversion to exchange the culture of the territory for the culture of the kingdom. Whatever was happening in the kingdom was supposed to happen in the colony as well. Number 6, in converting the colony, the governor transferred the kingdom's culture, values, nature, language, and lifestyle to the people. The governor made sure that every subject of the kingdom took on the kingdom culture in language, attitude, dress, food, and so forth. The colonists were even to take on his territory of the kingdom as if it were their own, which in fact it now was, because they had become a part of the because they had become part of the chronicles of the nation. The subjects were to take on the mindset and lifestyle of the kingdom until, if you visited the territory, you would think you were in the home country itself. Number 7, the governor prepared the subjects for citizenship. When a king took over a colony, the people essentially became his possessions. The inhabitants of the colony did not automatically become citizens. They were called subjects. For example, when the Bahamas was a colony, the people were not citizens of Great Britain. I'm going to repeat that. When the Bahamas was a colony, the people were not citizens of Great Britain. We couldn't vote, and we didn't have other rights of British citizens. In a kingdom, citizenship was a privilege. I'm going to repeat that. In a kingdom, citizenship was a privilege. Who became a citizen was the king's prerogative, and he personally granted it. The reason citizenship wasn't automatic is that once a person was appointed a citizen, he had special benefits and protections in the kingdom.